Hey everybody, welcome to That Comic Show. It's our Friday night show from Collected Comics and Games.
Hi there.
How are you today, Ron?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. So guys, as you can see, we have a ton of creators here with us this evening. I titled this episode number 2, Attack of the Creators, so that everybody can have an opportunity to talk about their books and stuff. So it'll take a few minutes. I think we have 2 viewers right now. Anybody who wants to, feel free to put any comments on the side. We'll answer those for you as best we can. And I'll turn it over to Ron.
Hey there. So we got 3 local creators. We were supposed to have a 4th one, but one had to go out of town for work. So David will be taking his spot as well and talking about his books. These guys have known each other for a while. They're all supporters of one another. So as we get a few more people in here, we'll let them start talking about their stuff. I don't believe any of y'all have books that are readily available through regular distribution, right?
Not currently, no.
You mean like formally Diamond distribution?
The regular comic distribution.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So just for the people that are interested in their books, this is the best way for you to be able to get their books tonight, is to order directly through this show. And they will also be able to tell you how to order after the show too, if you don't want to order through the show. But this is the best way. It's really cool to be able to order directly from the creator. So these guys love what they're doing. They're passionate about what they do. And when you're giving them an order, you are truly supporting their passion and their love.
Hear, hear. So guys, I assume you all have either a Facebook page, Instagram page, or a website as well. People can do orders through, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Awesome. Cool. Hold on, let me grab David. I think his signal dropped here real quick.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was trying to get the live comments to work and I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
No problem. So
anyway.
All right, we got about 7 folks in here now. So
I'm gonna hop over and share it out to a couple of groups. So y'all can go ahead and I'll be over on the other side sharing.
All right, we'll start with introductions, I guess. So David, you want to go first?
Sure. Should I do both at once or be Lewis on the second time around?
Either one, man. Whatever works. It's all good.
Okay. I am David Doub with Dust Comics. I've been writing and making comics for over 10 years now. Tonight I will be talking about my steampunk book.
You can go ahead and I'll be over on the other side sharing.
All right, we'll start with introductions. Somebody has their sound on.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry.
All right.
But yeah, that's me. I've been at this for a while. I also do Women of WonderCon and Texas Latino Comic Con, and I just love comics. That's the only reason you should do this, is because you love them.
Amen. I couldn't agree more. Cool.
Certainly not a way to make a fortune.
All right.
Yeah.
At any level.
That is so true. That's true.
I'm a pennier. I have tons of pennies.
Nice. I like that. Cool. Jim, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Jimmy Noble. I'm the creator and owner of Totally Rad Comics. I mainly do 80s adult comics, but also I've recently come out with a all-age comic that it's science fiction. It's a homage to Bollywood type stories, Bollywood type art.
Oh, cool.
And I've been in comics since June of 2019 with Totally Rad. I've been working in the comic industry, grading comics professionally since 2015 for CBCS Comics.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
So you work for CBS in Dallas right now?
Yes.
Cool.
That's awesome.
We just signed up with them.
Excellent.
Yep, we sure did. So cool. Well, thank you, Jim. Hector, you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah. My name is Hector Rodriguez. I'm the creator of Puzzle Hero right here. And I'm also co-founder of Texas Latino Con with David. And I've been working on the Puzzle Hero for about 9 years, 10 years next year. And we're on our 4th Texas Latino Comic Con.
Cool.
To be announced.
next year, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dallas is all like, we'll see. And I'm like,
Uh,
okay.
We'll talk more about it. We have.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Do we want to get into people talking about the product now?
Oh, let me just rep Luis real quick. Luis Torres couldn't be here today. He's been doing comics since, I believe, 2015 when he started his anthology, Whispers in the Necropolis.
which I love as a title.
Yes, it is. It's a little tongue twister, though, when you have to say it live. But and it's a horror anthology, and one of his stories in there, Lily the Demoness, broke away from that, and he's been following along more with that kind of 90s bad girl comics with that, and he just recently did Ace and Starlet, which is more of that, tongue-in-cheek TNA bad girl sort of thing.
Cool. I saw he did a number of Kickstarters as well too for Lily, right?
Yeah, he's up to issue 4 will be coming out soon.
That's great.
Yeah, he just recently finished 3, and actually what he's offering up today is some of his last remaining stock for sprinting, so it's rare.
That's cool. Well, let me ask you a question since we kind of hit on the Kickstarter thing. David, I understand you launched a Kickstarter yesterday.
I did it Monday, but yeah, it feels like yesterday the way everything works with our new time flow in this dimension. Yeah, I was going to do a Kickstarter with me and a fellow creator out of Denton, BJ Lewis, who's an amazing filmmaker, comic book creator, and wrestler. And we were taking our 2 properties, Dusk and Cheerleader Karate School, and we were going to combine them. And then this all happened. And I was like, oh, this is a horrible time to do a Kickstarter. But then I was talking to the artist and some of the other folks, and they're all like, we could use a little extra help right now. So I'm like, well, it doesn't hurt me anything besides time and sanity, and I don't have any of those right now, so I can't go in the red. And we decided to launch it and see what we can do. We've been getting a lot of good support. Even Kickstarter's gotten behind it. They made it their project we love sort of thing. So it's got a lot of promise. It's not funds yet, but we're pushing through there.
Well,
we had PJ in the store a couple of years ago. He also does a very awesome Luke Cage Power Man cosplay.
Oh yes. It's funny you say that because his persona on in his wrestling gig now is he does a Goku.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Well, speaking of Kickstarters, I mean, have either of you other 2 guys done Kickstarters for your project as well?
Yeah, I've done 2 Kickstarters.
Cool.
I help with David. Well, we helped with David in the previous Kickstarter.
Very nice. Very nice. Cool. So Ron, you want to get everybody started, I guess?
Yeah, just whoever wants to jump in there first and show us their books and tell us why we should buy it.
David, you want to go first since you?
Sure. Yep. I'll be David now, and then I will become Lewis.
Yeah. Can you put your hair up, David, when you become Lewis?
Yeah. It'll be tricky because I have digitals of all this stuff, but no physical. So I'll be like, I'll post it in the notes after the show because I can't seem to get into the live comments, oddly, but whatever. Yes.
Live comments you should be able to do through Facebook, I believe.
Okay. I didn't want to go in there and make noise or anything.
Oh, you're good.
But anyways, since I'm being me right now, what I'm going to be pushing, or what I'm going to be showing you all today is the trials and tribulations of Miss Tilney. Oh, this left to right thing is going to drive me nuts. And this will be a particular run because I've published it before. And then this is the run we did through Antarctic Press. And it's a fairly limited run because I bought a lot of the stock up. So I think a lot of the copies you can only get through me or Ron somewhere deep in the shadows there. I think I see some copies in that long box. But it's about a young lady who's in the Victorian England. She wants to become a reporter, but no one wants a woman to be a reporter, so they send her off on the worst case possible, where a mad British lord is apparently feeding people to tigers. Well, that's not the tiger in there, but and so.
So this is in Oklahoma, is it?
Ow, I feel triggered. You know how much I don't drink, and I drink so much when I watch that show. I do.
She's the Tiger Queen.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Try not to get triggered.
There's a whole marketing campaign, David. A brand new
What?
There's a brand new marketing campaign for you.
I know, and I can't. Everyone's horrible on that show. Anyway. But yes, in a way, yes, there is, and because he is a big game hunter, so yes, they think he has an affiliation with tigers. But then there's kind of deeper secrets to it, to where maybe people are turning into tigers and such. And I was doing it off of a true Penny Dreadful. And again, this is before the show comes out. I swear I come up with things, and then shows like the Tiger King come on. But at the back, it's like a Penny Dreadful. So there's actually a text piece in the back that tells the backstory, and I even tried to do wood prints like the old Penny Dreadfuls were.
Oh.
And yep, I have all three of them. They're all in nice condition, and it's $4 each, or $12 for the set, plus shipping, of course, which should only be like $3.
And David, if they want to buy those, where can they go to look at your books and to purchase them?
They can just contact me directly, and I can get it out to them. So
Okay.
they can just contact me on Facebook.
Okay.
Through David or through Dusk Comics?
Either or.
Okay.
All roads lead to Rome, or me.
So it would be, is it Facebook or Facebook.com/Dusk Comics?
That's the clever thing. Dusk Comics, with plural, is me personally. Dusk Comic is the Dusk Comics page.
Okay, great, perfect. Just that way people can find you and go ahead and order your books.
Yes.
Awesome. Do they get autographed when they go out?
I suppose so. And I would even dare to personalize it. And I never personalize because I can't spell. So
So they need to write out exactly what they want on there, correct?
if they want it correctly, yes.
Awesome. So so with that's what you've had out. So what are you working on right now? What's your next project?
Well, besides the Kickstarter, I've been trying to get Demons in the Darkness out, and that's been my book. It's kind of been my passion project lately. It's set in the 90s. It's about gamers getting bullied, and they summon up this wrath, that the personification of the wrath, who starts killing all the bullies. Almost seems kind of it is pretty harsh horror and all that. And I've had some interest in it with bigger publishers, and I tried to Kickstarter it last year, but I think I was a little too ambitious. And I'm planning on getting that out. I'm also working with some other artists on some other books. Andrew Herman, I'm working with on a book, kind of a French era book. Not French era. It's I'm trying to remember how to say her name because I can't even pronounce it. This is that historical figure. I don't know if you've seen the memes where this lady, she snuck into a covenant to meet this girl who is becoming a nun, and they faked her death and burnt down the whole. It's a French historical comic, which a lot of craziness in it. As you can see, it's a lot going on, and it's better to read it than hear my mad ramblings about it.
Okay, cool.
And I also have another book I'm working. It's another Tilney book. This time it deals with more sea creatures and such. So as you see, I got a lot going on, and I could talk up the whole time. So I'll cut it off.
Well, the next Tilney book, will that be through Antarctic, or are you going to publish yourself?
I'm going to publish it myself.
Cool. Okay. And then last question I've got for you, let's see if Ron has any as well. But so who are your influences? What got you motivated to create comics?
Oh my goodness, they're all over the place, and I try to gather up as many influences as I can get. I mean, I grew up on not only just superheroes, but I grew up on manga and the European comics. Like, I loved heavy metal since I was a little too young to read them. So everyone from Mobius to Silent Mobius to Captain America, I've just absorbed comics as much as I can.
Cool. That's awesome. Thank you, man. Ron?
Yeah, I want to welcome a couple of people that joined us though before I get in, and then I have one question. But Brandon Santino, Miranda, James Dawson, Jason Lacker, and Robert Ramos all in here. Thank you for joining us.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
And if you guys have any questions at all, just make sure that you type your questions in the comments. That way we can get them to the creators. My big one would be why self-publish? You know, what got you? Did you know how to do it before you actually started doing it? And before Kickstarter, what was the process?
Very good questions. And before I self-published, or just full published, I like to say now, I went with a couple of publishers, but obviously starting out, you go with smaller ones. And with any small business, especially comics, they kind of would go away for various reasons and all that, because the market's tricky even in the best of times. So I thought, I'd go, I've learned enough. I think I can do it myself. I had a lot more to learn. And then that cycle repeated when I go, I know how to self-publish my own books. I'm going to start publishing other people's stuff. I know it all. And it just, keep learning and learning. And before Kickstarter, honestly, for me, it was all self-investment. I would get the funds myself, paid basically straight out of pocket and all of that. But as I've gotten older and all that, and I've had more responsibilities in life, you know how it goes, like, the mortgage is weighing you down. I've had to look to other revenue sources like Kickstarter and Indiegogo and all of that to help, be more responsible in my other parts of my monetary life and, still make comics.
Cool.
Thank you, man.
I know that Brent and I both have a passion for the old APPAs and the old zines that everybody used to self-publish. So that's I still miss those days.
I miss ash cans. Like when everyone started doing zines,
yeah.
I'm like, ash cans, they're ash cans. I'm like, I miss those. Look, just photocopy out a book and you got something.
Yeah, really.
They're still well alive. If you check out some of the APAs like UFO, United Fanzine Organization, they're still being done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, some good stuff. Cool. All right, Jim, you want to go next?
Sure. So today I have my all-age comic, Strange. I'm doing this on my phone, so it's kind of hard to angle it all in there.
Oh,
so Strange Cosmic Tales, and we show you a little bit on the inside. It's all black and white.
Cool.
And it's all, like I said earlier, it's a Wally Wood homage. It's got that old
EC feeling.
EC feeling, yeah. And I thought it would be a fun thing to do. A good friend of mine, Cody Lockwood, actually inspired me to do it. And so last month I told my artist about it, and he was all for it. And about 2 weeks ago, it all printed up, and I've been selling these to retailers. I've been giving retailers, the retail price so they can, sell to all their customers. Because all the Marvel and DC stops, and Diamond in general just stopped shipping books to the shops. So, I've been trying to help out retailers as much as I can. I'm selling this today. You can get it on my web store, but if you reach out through me and say that you saw this broadcast, on my web store it's $15. But if you reach out to me, I'll sell for $10. I'll give you $5 off. And I also want to show you. I have my artist is Alfred Lay. He's from Mexico. He does all the artwork on all my Totally Rad comics, from my adult stuff to my all ages stuff. If you really like his work after seeing the Strange Cosmic Tales, I have I'm only going to show the all ages cover. So this is a all age sketchbook, meaning all ages can see the inside. But there's also an adult version available as well, but I'm not going to show that on here, obviously. So this is the all ages Alfred Lay sketchbook. All sales go to him. So I, minus the shipping costs, I give him all the profits. I can't give you guys a deal on that. But it's only $20. But I'm telling you, once you see his art on my books, you'll be like, wow, this guy's amazing. I got to get a sketchbook. And especially during this time, I'm trying to help my artist as much as I can because he's not able to go to any cons. And basically, we were working on. I pumped out 2 books that are coming in the next couple months. In this month alone, we've done more in this month than we've done the whole year because we've just had nothing to do.
Right. And then I don't know if you guys heard the news today about San Diego, so we won't get one of those until next year. So
yeah.
So I think it's more important now than ever to make sure that people know where they can pick up your books, since you won't have an opportunity really to see anybody at conventions this year.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's why it's also important to support the writers and the artists directly as much as you can. Either buying books or getting commissions and things like that.
Yeah. So Jim, if they want to get the books, what's the best way to reach you? Do you have a website?
Yes, I have a website on Big Cartel. It's if you just search Totally Rad Comics, that'll be the first thing that comes up on Google. You can contact me directly on Facebook, Jimmy Noble, or you can also go to my Facebook page, Totally Rad Comics, and the link is also on there as well.
Okay. Very cool. So same question I asked David. What was your influence? What got you started in comics?
Well, I love Chris Claremont's run of the X-Men. I'm sure that's that's a go-to. Like, who doesn't like Chris Claremont and all those amazing stories that he did? That's the first comics I've read, and I owned every single issue of it. Still own to this day. Like, the first comic I could ever pick up was X-Men 129. So that was a big influence. But also, because I make adult comics, a lot of inspirations, like a lot of the underground stuff, like the Cherry Comics, Larry Wells' Cherry Comics.
Sure.
And for recent times, I guess I'd have to say Dan Mendoza, who does Zombie Tramp, Sad Girl, Psycho Baby, Sugar Pop. He was a big inspiration for me. And same thing with Marat Michaels, who does the Do You Poo, Naughty and Nice books. He's like the king of cover swipes.
Oh, okay.
Now, have you seen the Persuasion comics or the Pharaoh's Lounge?
Yes, Ryan Kincaid. I've been friends with him for about 2 years now. He's actually doing a cover for Totally Rad Comics in the next month or so. And Pharaoh's Comics, yeah, I have seen those as well. Jose Variz, who does a lot of the artwork for that, he's also done covers for me for Totally Rad Comics as well.
Cool. Yeah, we've got a exclusive coming in for Pharaoh's Comics of the Scooby. It's got Daphne and Velma and a very demonic-looking Scooby-Doo. So
that's awesome.
Very cool.
The naughty cover and the nice cover, of course.
Very cool. Well, guys, David, thank you. David put both of his Facebook pages on there. I just put them on the screen. If you guys want to type yours in, I'll flash those up there as well, too, so people can check them out. So, well, cool. Well, thanks, Jim. So, Hector, tell us about your book, man.
Yeah, El Paso Hero. I was born in Southwest Texas, near San Antonio. And so the book is based around the Southwest in the border world. And it's in the backdrop of the ongoing border crisis with the cartel criminal organizations, as well as the immigration issue. And it's something that has I've drawn up a lot of influences from my past and from my comic book world, and it started as a webcomic summer 2011. And after a year, I was doing conventions, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, and so it hit. I got mainstream buzz when Univision did a story, and then it kind of went to Dallas Morning News, and so kind of it went viral. Huffington Post, CNN, and it's the story revolves around Ignacio Rivera. It's a story about family, loyalty, betrayal. It's him trying to. It's the audience knowing who he really is, but it's almost like reading a train wreck. You're just waiting to happen in this superhero very simple. White shirt, blue jeans, belt buckle. He kind of for me as a creator, he kind of draws comparisons to Luke Cage.
Okay.
And so, and it's him trying to figure out himself, but at the same time try to do what he can in a really bad situation, kind of like a super humanitarian, regardless of the laws and the more ambiguity that the border world is. And so it's gone viral a couple of times. If you guys Google El Paso Hero, you can see a lot of the new stuff. NBC had a story August from with the connections with the El Paso shootings, the attack, and so not also that, but summer 2015, we made a special homage cover of Jack Kirby, Captain America, from Captain America punching Hitler, but it's Donald Trump.
Oh, cool.
So that was before, that was when right after he announced his candidacy. We figured out it was a appropriate time to, and we have fans that are from both political spectrums. We have fans that are Border Patrol agents. We have fans that are huge advocates in human rights, and so in this case, we've never gone political. It was summer 2015, and we felt that our Latino community was under siege, and what better way to, as an artist, as creators, as writers, to use art to stand up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so we did so, and it went viral again. That cover was a variant cover of El Paso Hero Border Stories. So we have published 10 books, 2 graphic novels. This is the one that I'm pitching. They actually have about 10, 15 of these. It's basically really popular because it's the origin story arc. It includes La Cueva de las Espadas, and the Battle of Nuevo Laredo and La Patrona. And so it's about 103 pages, and it's one of the popular ones. And you hit the story, the origin, and then I go with my continuous story. And is I don't have a lot of these left, so
What's the price on each of the trays? What are you selling them for?
Well, the trade, this was a little bit bigger. Usually my books, they run around between 30, 36, 40 pages. And so, I focus on, right now I've been focusing on writing. I did the art for the first issue 1, and it's just 2. And actually issue 1, this is the cover for issue 1, cover done by Sam De La Rosa.
Oh, wow.
A veteran inker from Marvel. Huge, great guy. And so I did the art for the first 2 books, and afterwards, issue 3 was done by Shown Up Studios, Terry and Halo. Great people, great artists. And so afterwards, I have a couple of artists. I have Guillermo Villarreal from Argentina, and I have Chema from Mexico. Guillermo is the artist for the origin story art, and then I have Chema. He does my special projects. He did Border Stories and El Paso Hero Borderland, which is actually really that one got a lot of press because of the story arc with El Paso Hero breaking through a detention facility and rescuing kids. And so the stories can be pretty heavy. It's a reflection,
sure,
of the border, right? We actually recently, the most recent release was El Paso Hero Frontera de Terror, a horror anthology, mini anthology of horror. Something fun,
Nice. That's
Later, and so I actually partnered with David. David did the first story, and David, do you want to talk a little bit about that? The lady of
Oh yeah, the Lady of Dan Nang.
yeah.
Yeah, I decided to kind of, because Hector tries to be very political, but I didn't want to speak on anything I didn't have a strongest connection with. So I tried to took another. I brought in this folklore from Vietnam and tried to tie it into what Hector does, and also make it interesting because bring in different sort of mythologies on all of that. So it's kind of interesting to play with different cultures and yet show how some themes are universal. And I personally love the way it closes. I don't want to talk about it, but really kind of speaks about, how some problems are unfortunately universal.
Yeah, we recently released that about a week ago. Well, it's digitally right now through Comixology. It's only $1, so and so you can check it out. We actually
I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like we're competing against $1.99 from DC, and so it's it has a really cool cover because it's done by Jeff Sarno. Jeff Sarno is one of the big horror guy, metalhead, awesome guy. He worked for IDW. He did some of the Godzilla stuff. He's done a lot of cover art for metal bands. He's really huge into the horror genre. You can check it out. I also worked with Cannon White, awesome artist. He did the art for Uber. You can check that out. Great book. He did these two, that Professor Breaking Through the Wall and this newest piece right here. And so we also have another Adriel. He's a Mexican artist. He cover right here. And so it's a partnership, and so we've had a lot of things going on. We had a radio show, 10 minutes long. You can check it out, done by some Mexican talent, voice talent. If you just go on YouTube, check out El Pozo radio novella, 10 minutes, great sound. We also did we filmed a short movie, part of the Puzzle Origin stories, 26 minutes long. It's on YouTube. My brother, he directed it, rest in peace. And so he worked on it about 2 years, and it's part of the origin story arc. And we actually have some great talent there. We have Edgar Arreola. He was on Two Guns. He was on Sicario. We have some guys, Billy Blair. He was recently in Lolita. He's done Machete. He's done a lot of stuff. And so these guys that work for Rob Rodriguez kind of were very kind to lend their talents towards our short. So we have that going on. We have some major surprises coming up. We'll see. So right now it's just, writing and working on, try to, just being consistent, delivering content. Right. It's all about the story. I'm excited. I'm really excited about the story. So we're really close to the ending of the story arc. And so I'm really excited to show that. And then we're off to another one. And so, which I'm currently writing, El Puzzle Hero, Sicario War. I'm excited for that one. Very action, fun, yeah.
Well, Hector, of the books that you have that are for sale that you want people to be able to pick up, what can you show each one of us and tell us what the price points are?
Yeah, so right now we just focus on since I have most of these, it's El Puzzle Legend of El Puzzle Hero trade. $20 plus shipping. And so it's about $7-8. You can go to realbravocomics.com. You can check out individual issues on Comixology. There you go.
Okay. So same question I asked the other three guys. Your influences. Who were they? What were they?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I grew up. My dad was in the military, so he had a whole stack of Mad magazines, and so Sergio Aragones. I was, and also I used to watch a lot of Mexican movies, and so the Amalda brothers, kind of the narco cinema. Also, of course, Lucha Libre, El Santo, Blue Demon, big influence, and as well as early '90s Image, Top McFarlane, Capullo, Jim Lee. Those, they're the ones that really kind of, they broke through the mold, right? And they showed that comics can be very edgy and serious. It is early '90s, right? And so I'm here in Inigo Paz in the VHS section, just rental, and they have this stack of comics, and so you have Spawn, just very eye catching, and so picking it up, it really, and plus he was a African American superhero, right? And really cool, and so that spoke to me. And of course, I'm a huge kaiju fan, and so Japanese manga, anime, Gigantor,
Nice.
Battle of the Planets. Growing up is just you take it all in, right?
So here's a quick question for you. You mentioned Battle of the Planet. So were you one of the kids that, like, as soon as school was out at 3:30, you raced home so that you could get there just in time to catch Battle of the Planet?
Well, my Battle of the Planets was called Fuerza G-Force, and it was
okay.
Spanish, right? And so when I would go visit my grandma across the border in Piedras Negras in Mexico, a lot of the older stuff was indicated still. It was in Spanish, and so I would consume that, right? And so, and then I would go, back in Saturday morning cartoons watching G.I. Joe and Ghostbusters, and all right.
We could do an entire show about Saturday morning cartoons. I'm just letting you guys know.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for all three of y'all. Since you're all writers, there always seems to be a deficit of artists, and there's more people wanting to write comics than there are to actually draw them, or there will be people that say they will draw them and then they kind of disappear. So how do you go about finding your artists?
Jim, do you want to go?
Sure, I'll go first. So the way I found most of my artists, a lot of like Alfred Lay, who does all the artwork for my books. I've been friends with him for like quite a few years, and before I even wanted to write comics, I was getting tons of sketches from him. And then one day I decided, hey, if I were to do a comic book, would you do the art for it? And he was just like, yeah, sure. So, and since then we've just been a team doing basically everything that Totally Rad's done, and also, and the other way I find artists, I go through Facebook a lot. There's a lot of Facebook sites, Facebook pages. I have artists seeking, work, and a lot of Instagram pages that also have artists that are, looking for work. And I try to get people that, that can do adult stuff, that enjoy doing it. I don't want to hire an artist that doesn't enjoy what they do. I always try to find someone that, loves doing, the kind of stuff that I write.
Right.
Cool.
David?
Sure. Could I bring up Lewis's stuff real quick before I forget? Lewis's, as you're talking about, he I first met him at Bravos Valley Comic Con. I don't think you guys vended out there because
Yeah,
only.
Okay. So
that was the one down by A&M, right?
Yeah.
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 And I don't know if people remembered it because the second time it happened and it got weird and it never came back again, sort of thing.
He owes a lot of people money.
That's the easy answer of putting it. But me and Terry went out and we shared a booth out there, and that's where I first met Lewis, actually. And he had just done Whispers and then Necropolis, and it's a lot of that. It's funny, him and Jim have a lot of similar vibes and how they write and what they go for. I think Jim's more into the action, and Lewis likes more of the horror. But you definitely seem to be two peas from the same pod sometimes, and that's where I first met him. and he just had, I think he had just done issue 2 of Whispers in Necropolis, and he was doing that, and I think he finally did 3, but his Lily, the demoness, he finally spun her out, and she's very much a, like I said, a 90s sort of Lady Death character, to where actually she's the, it deals with the biblical, the angels falling out with God and all of that. But in this case, they didn't like, some of the angels were jealous that man was getting more attention. So, Lucifer took his band, like, no, we're not putting up with that. So they lose the fight and they banish them all. And his right hand woman is Lily Adarat. I think I'm saying it right. I'm never very, very good at pronouncing the words I see. But she is sent out to find these mystical gems called the Tears of the Father. And before she gives them to Satan, because he could basically undo everything and undo what God did, she decides to shatter them and, throw them to earth. So, of course, she's banished. Well, she's not banished. She has to run away before, Lucifer does what he does in hell, which is only fun to about 1% of the populace. And so she's banished into Earth, and she has to deal with this whole mess of not only are the demons wanting her, but the angels kind of remember a couple of millennia worth of her wrongdoing, but she's trying to redeem herself. And it's not an all ages book for sure. Like there's one scene to where she had to rejuvenate herself, and there's a couple of ways of getting demonic power, and one of it's through, to use a different term, a tantric sort of way of getting energy. I
saw his multiple covers that he had for a couple of those issues, David. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. She had to do it through sex. Let's just, I hope there's no kids up this late. But yes.
So it's not quite the 13 plus that he told me it was.
I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I know what I saw. So
13 and a couple of pluses, more likely.
Yeah.
It depends on the dads, because I know it's not the moms who are saying yes to that. So it depends on what dad is buying that book for their 13 plus.
Cool.
And what he's selling today, like I said, it's one of the more appropriate covers, comparatively speaking. It is her laying in bed and what's supposed to be her armor with 2 emaciated guys, because she just kind of, drained the life force out of them. And you can fill in the blanks. And double entendres or just simple entendre at this point.
Nice. Cool. So how about you, David? Where do you find creators and stuff? Do you mostly conventions? I mean, where do you have them?
It's a, now for me, it's a network of things, talking to people and knowing artists who know other things. But oddly enough, for where I first started, it was through a website called Digital Webbing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great site.
Yeah, and they're still up and going.
Ed Dukeshire. That's Ed Dukeshire's site.
Yes. I totally forgot him, but but yeah, their forum is great, and people communicate. It's like for money, not money, very straightforward. Yep. And that's where I got my first couple of artists. And then from there, though, you can talk to artists and say, hey, do you know anyone else? Or you talk to people at shows, or you talk to like Hector or Jim, and you're like, hey, can I work with that guy? And you just now you have a network. But yeah, starting out, that was a great place. And that's the trick. It always changes, because I feel funny saying digital webbings, because that is easily 15 years when I first started going to that site. So I'm like, is that on the internet wise? Is that still a valid thing? Because that almost like me saying, let's go to DeviantArt, or
Well, that's what I've always heard was, go check them out on DeviantArt.
I keep hearing different things about that. Some people do DeviantArt, and the trick I found with why I always liked digital webbing is they had the forums you can communicate. There is no real forum structure or anything in DeviantArt. You just have to scroll through all the pictures and kind of hunt and peck. Yeah. If you were, there was no kind of blanket, hey, I'm looking for this, or hey, I'm an artist looking to do that. It was all just like, I'll just cold call this guy, and he'll be like, no, or whatever. So but it's work regardless, and it's always evolving because some people would go, oh, well, go on Tumblr or go on Instagram. So it's always going to change. So it's hard to say, oh, this is where I found people. It's like, I don't know if they're still there.
Well, I know during my Ape Entertainment days when, because I did a lot of talent searching for people back then, DeviantArt was always a great source for me because you can sort by title, by character, that kind of thing, which was good. And I always found that when you found an artist that you like, if you'll go and look at the artists they like, and in their friends list, it takes you down the trail to find a lot of similar styles.
Smart way to do it.
Yeah. The other one too is digital webbing was always a great resource for me as well when I was first starting out. The other one that I had a lot of luck with was Pencil Jack, which is still around as well.
Yeah.
That's really a proving ground for a lot of young talent starting up these days too. So.
Yeah, for me, I found one of my artists through Pencil Jack.
Yeah,
and there was Guillermo through digital webbing way back, where 7 years ago.
Yeah. Cool. You guys remember the anthology, the digital webbing anthology that Ed did and put together for a while?
Oh man, that's way back.
I know, right? Hey, I've been doing it a long time.
For me, like getting my artist, it comes down to the style, the representation, right, of the story. And so each story has a different sets of needs. And so, our newest artist, that I brought to my fold, Vincenzo, he's an Italian guy. He did David's story.
Sorry.
Right. And so the funny thing with Vince, he was bugging me for about a year and a half, like, hey, remember me, Hector? Like if you have anything, really cool if I could work for do a Puzzle story. I'm like, dude, right now I'm like tied down, working on this, working on that. And I did love his art style, very clean, a lot of construct. Hey, Jerry, Victor, yeah. And so it's, his style, really didn't, fit my general story arc or my special stories, but it was what I was looking for what David was trying to show with his story.
Yeah, I was very mean in the script because the normal stuff, to try to do the horror, the normal stuff was just clean and simple, and then the other side was meant to be very sketchy and kind of static and rough, almost like the world was coming apart, to kind of do that more Japanese horror kind of Ringu or The Grudge sort of effect, to where everything's normal, and then when the creepy stuff happened.
Right, which brings you also have to think about budget. You have a budget, so you got to strike a balance, right? It almost like, I know Jeff, when he did the cover, and I love his stuff. You can check it out. Just go to Facebook, type in Jeff Sarnow with Z, and you can see how it's an awesome horror terror, like grind house feel to it. But respectfully, you want to pay your artists what they're worth. What respectfully, you don't want to lowball them and screw them. You want to pay them well, and so it's a balance, right? For projects, I know that one artist, I'll say his name, Humberto Ramos, Spider-Man Marvel,
right?
And so it was about the second time that Puzzle Hero went viral. And so he's mentioned something, comments, like, oh, Humberto Ramos, yeah, I'm a big fan, I love your Spider-Man. And then I was like, I wonder, I'm going to see if he's interested in maybe doing a cover for me. And so he, and I shoot him an email in Spanish, and he's like, oh, Hector, yeah, respectfully, it's cool, but I don't do anything political. And I'm like, all right, comics have always been political, but all right, it's cool. Thanks for acknowledging your response. But it all depends on the story.
Cool. All right, so I've got a question for all three of you guys. So you get that phone call. It's Marvel, DC, whatever company, and they say, "Hey, you have the opportunity. You can pick any character you want to do. Who's it going to be?"
That's easy for me.
Okay.
Wonder Woman.
Nice. Very cool.
If you could, I don't know if I can show you, but my whole nightstand is
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Nice. So, David, what would you do differently with Wonder Woman?
It's funny because I'm inspired by an old Action Comics Superman story where he pushes this asteroid that has a alien device on it, and it splits him and Clark Kent into two separate people.
Okay.
And I always like that kind of study of Clark and Superman. And I realized Wonder Woman is always Wonder Woman. Diana Prince is like, who is that? And occasionally they bring her back, and I would actually use that same thing to where I would make them two separate people, but still so kind of like dissect literally Wonder Woman into two halves and see how they would act. And also you get away with things because, well, she's not her whole self, so she's doing things that she wouldn't normally do, and literally do a character study of her, like, splitting her into her two parts. I think everyone's gotten too much into and don't get me wrong, I love the deity part of it, but she's a person too, a very different and unique person, but I would go back into the core of who she is and not just what she does.
Cool. Okay. Jim?
They did a series with Dinah Prince. Denny O'Neil wrote it. And it was like they always said that Denny O'Neil did it because he never knew how to write a superhero anyway. He always wrote like Batman and things like that. So when they gave him Wonder Woman, the first thing he did was take her powers away, and he made her like a '60s super spy.
Oh yeah, where she had the I Ching or the Kung Fu Master, and she wore the white outfit. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was anything that like when Denny O'Neil wrote Green Lantern, Green Arrow. The first thing he did was bring them back to Earth and do the Speedy drug story.
Cool. So Jim?
I definitely want to write the X-Men, but considering how bad the stories have been the past couple of years and all the reboots, just like, come on, it's not that hard to write the X-Men, and they're doing all this. I just think it's not good. All the stuff they're doing.
So you don't like the Hickman stuff either? You don't like the new Hickman stuff?
No, the Power of X, House of X. Yeah, I did not like that.
Oh, really? I liked it.
No. I also don't like when I buy a comic book and then half the pages are text and not artwork, and they're trying to explain.
And you're a writer saying that.
I don't like it. I want artwork, and like I'm a huge fan of like the Age of Apocalypse storyline, which was a whole year event. They tried to squeeze that into 5 months, and it was just it wasn't. They could have done it way better. And,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of. I think they were trying to tell a lot of story with such limited.
Yeah.
Right, and I do see that.
What I have to say about House X real quick is the core of House X, and it's a good thing we have Hector on here. It's about, racism and diversity and all of that. And I don't know where Hickman's going with it, but it's something else. And I'm like, that is the core. That's what Claremont built off of, that's even what Stan Lee did. And I think every time it goes away from it, it doesn't work. Now, don't get me wrong. Hickman knows his craft, and it's a real good story, but I wouldn't say it's not an X-Men story.
It seems to be kind of like what happens if the oppressed all of a sudden become the oppressor. That's what it is to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I could see where that was going.
Yeah. So Hector, what's your answer to the question?
I say that for DC, a Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, I would try to ground him more. Ground him more in Ghost Rider, Marvel, of course. Trying to Yeah, and so
Wait a minute, which Ghost Rider? There's
Yeah, there's
like
a lot of Ghost Riders.
Right.
what's his name?
Johnny Blaze or Catch?
or the third one in the car, the
The third one. What's his name?
Reyes. I forget his first name. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which one?
I'd like to, and a character that I would love to bring into my world would be Luke Cage from Marvel.
Cool.
I've always loved Luke Cage as a character.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely so.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Well, guys, so each take a turn, look into the camera, pitch your book, tell people where to find it so that they have one last opportunity to kind of know where to go to find the cool stuff you guys are making. David?
Okay, I'll start as Lewis first. You got to check out issue 1 of Lily the Demoness. It is hot, sexy demon action, heaven versus hell, burning up the pages. So you definitely got to check it out. He only has 50 copies left at $10 each of this particular cover. So it's a rare thing. And if you enjoy that 90s bad girl stuff like Chaos Comics and Lady Death and all those other wonderful, raunchy fun, you got to check it out. Yeah. Oh, yes. I loved Razor more than I loved Lady Death, but that's another topic. Cry for Dawn. Shut me up now already. Sorry.
Cool. Jim?
Totally Rad Comics on Facebook, Totally Rad Comics on Big Cartel, and reach through me on Facebook. I'm easy to talk to. I don't deny any friend requests usually, unless it's like from like the Ukraine and I don't know who they are.
And they have a hot picture.
If it's a pretty lady, chances are they're not wanting my book.
And the only people I know are all the other comic people I know. It's like, no.
I have a mutual friend with somebody before I accept the request usually. So that way I know they're not from the Ukraine trying to sell me Russian rider. Cool. Hector?
Yeah, check out El Poso Hero on RealRoboComics.com and stay tuned for any big announcements and news as we roll out some cool news stories coming up.
Cool.
Ron?
Just want to remind people, keep in touch with all of these guys. The Latino Comic-Con. Oh, David gets to go for himself.
Yeah, sorry. No, yes, check me out at Dust Comics. You can find me anywhere, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, just Dust Comics, and you'll find me. Like I said, I'm pushing this book, but I got the Kickstarter going. You can check that on Kickstarter, where one of the projects they love, and Dusk, and I got a lot of great stuff. I do a lot of horror, a lot of angsty stuff. I am an 80s child, so I grew up from everything from Near Dark to Anne Rice to, the Lost Boys. So it's all in there in a messy blender.
Nice.
Okay, David, I have a question for you, though. Since you're doing the Kickstarter Ninja High School, or not Ninja High School, God, what is his show?
Cheerleader Karate School?
Cheerleader Karate School, yes. He did a web series of that. And I know that you have somebody that cosplays as your character.
Yes.
Right? Are y'all going to do like a crossover web series, or?
You're trying to trigger BJ. He is very much a meticulous creator. He is very much he's very passionate. The pilot was not what he hoped it was. So we don't talk about it.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
No. I loved it, and that's one of the reasons that brought me on, because we actually talked about doing some Dust stuff, and and all of that. But because he had real great success with Party Girl, his other web series, and was hoping
we screened Party Girl for him when we had him in the store. Yeah.
Awesome. And he was hoping Cheerleader Karate School would work, but with film, I have found there's a lot more moving pieces in comics, and it just kind of So he's trying to do it as a comic book now, and he's actually getting it done, because what he had in mind and all of that, it works better as a comic. So he's doing it as that, and it's just kind of funny, the crossovers coming out before you can get the book finished. So So that's how these things happen. Because God, what was it? Deathmate. You remember certain characters appealed in Deathmate before they appealed in their own. You know, it's all the crazy comics. You know, it's like, why are they appearing there? It's like, you know, scheduling and production.
And I still have a lot of those Deathmate blacks and golds for Gen 13.
Nice.
Oh,
Wow.
So
I got some from the scrap store, and I cut them up to make collages out of them.
all right.
Jim, you wanted to say something else?
Sorry.
Yes, to jump on to because David mentioned his Kickstarter. Also, speaking of crossovers, Totally Rad Comics also has a crossover cover for the Kickstarter.
Yeah, so we have a crossover cover for the crossover book. So it's like a three-way, but I'm trying not to make those jokes and fall into Jim's trap.
So one last question for you guys before we get ready to sign off here. So you guys have mentioned Latino Comic Con. So Hector, David, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about that and what your plans are for it?
Well, we would be going for our 4th Texas Latino Comic Con this year. And as for right now is to be announced. We're in constant communication with the city of Dallas and the Latino Cultural Arts Center. So, you know, we are, I mean, first we do what's best for our community and what's best for our attendees first. And so.
Yeah, it's last time we talked to them, things have been changing so fast. It's hard to say, this is what we're going to do. World doesn't care what we're going to plan, we're going to make right now. So things change by the hour sometimes. So, and like Hector said, we're going to do the best thing. But at the core of it, what it's always has been, and why I started Women of WonderCon and teamed up with Hector for Texas Latino Comic Con, we have enough Comic Cons. We got enough. You can swing a stick and it's going to become back covered in Comic Con goo. There's plenty of those. That is covered, literally. So we're like, well, now's the time to step up, is to do a little bit more and help, you know, as Hector, you know, coins it best, is our voices matter, and try to give voices to more of the marginalized, the people who don't get as much attention, to where some people like to bring up, like there was a Comic Con in Denver or something, and they had a women's in comic panel. There was no women on the panel. So it's kind of like,
Right.
I think Taffeta told me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're all like, that's not, you know, and there's enough cons, and me and Hector and a lot of us folks who collaborate, we have enough experiences, not enough for us just to do a con. We want to do a con that brings more to the community and helps more people. And I know I've even talked to some folks about doing a LGBTQ one in DFW, but they keep hitting it out of the park in Haven Con. So it's like, you know, and I don't want to, you know, crowd things and all that, but you know, there's just so much to do and help so much. And
you know, David, they did that in Austin as well too. They did like one show, I think.
That's the Haven Con,
wasn't it? Yeah. Did they ever get the second show started?
I don't know. I appreciate
one in Austin.
Yeah, I went to that. We set up at that one. I made sure we were definitely there for the first con they did. So
I think they did it for a couple of years. It's hard to keep track of because there's just so many shows now, and there's
I know there's a ton of them out there.
Yeah, and there's more Latino ones too. You know, because Hector knows the guys out of the California, the Latino Comic Expo.
Comics Expo, and so we have our cousins over there, our primos up in the West Coast, and you know, Ricardo Padilla, Javier Hernandez, they've been doing Texas Latino Comics Expo since 2011, and so, and it's, you know, that's how we Dave and I borrow from them. You know, hey, we need to do one in Texas because, you know, it's and being free for the community most of all.
Yeah, that's been the key component with both Women of WonderCon and Texas Latino Comic Con, because again, it's not a typical con. We work with community partners like the Latino Cultural Center of Dallas or the Dallas Public Library to help make it free for everybody, because it's not about turning a profit, because it's comics. What profit? No.
So if someone wants to keep up with what's going on with Texas Latino Comic Con, is there a website they can go to that they can check?
Or with the Women of WonderCon.
Yeah.
You can Google either of those. Texas Latino Comic Con is we're mainly on Facebook, correct?
Yeah, we're heavy on social media.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so any news, check.
And Women of WonderCon, that was a little crazy because we got that one just under the wire in late February before everything started to collapse. I washed my hands until they were raw, but we're on all social media, and if you go to Women of WonderCon, the website, you can catch us there. Careful of how you go because you'll get WonderCon, because I got to really think about these names sometimes, because I got a couple of people going, I thought you were WonderCon. It's like, close. I was going for the acronym WowCon. See, I'm clever. I'm a regular.
Very nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it, and I hope you get some viewership out of this and people checking out your projects.
Yeah, and definitely keep supporting you guys. I know, luckily the kids aren't watching, but I got some great.
We have a Teresa Rojas from Latino Comics Arts Festival in Modesto, California. Hi, Teresa. Shout out. I see the comments.
Oh, okay. I didn't even look over there.
Hers last year in California, and so
Cool.
Yeah, they're awesome.
As I was saying, though, is support Collected, because I got a bunch of great comics from Ron, and we're actually my fiance. She does CosbyCon out of Capel, and she's doing it anyways. We're doing it in the house, and we got some comics from Ron to give away to the kids and all that. So we're gonna have our own Comic Con in the house.
Cool. So you liked my selection?
Oh yeah. No, some of it is perfect. It's perfect for the kids. You did spot on, sir.
All right, awesome.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks again for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Yeah, that's really about it, guys. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
We'll make sure to put links up on both of the collecting pages for all of the books on how to get them.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Have a good night.
You
Thanks.
too.
Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.